Hello, friends. So, welcome back to my lecture section on GST. So, this is my second lecture, and we will be starting with a topic called supply under GST. So, today we are going to see a segment which is very important for your exam also, and also for your uh, career growth also, because whoever wants to practice in indirect tax should know the supply. Okay, so not to waste much of your time, so we are going to see a supply which is a taxable event, in GST to levy GST. Supply is a taxable event. So meaning of supply, we are going to see section 7, which is a supply, which talks about the meaning of supply and its inclusion and exclusions in supply. And this section 7 is of CGST Act 2017. Okay. One more thing I wanted to keep you updated is this is not a complete notes. I am going to lively write down now as and when I am going to talk over the topics. I am also going to write down the notes also live. So yes. So how to start with section 7 is, you should first know what section 7 is, how it is lie down, like how it has been written. Okay, so what we have to see is, first it talks about the section 7 talks about the inclusions. So how we are going to deal with this inclusion? Okay, sorry, 2 minutes, friends. There is some sound disturbance in my background. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, so to continue, we will discuss the notes. So here, if you see, I have started with includes, and where we are talking about 7.1, that is section 7 subsection 1, which talks about inclusions. Okay, which talks about inclusions. So there are some inclusions. First is 7.1a, which talks about any activity in the nature of, you have to remember, DEBT for consideration in the course or furtherance of business. That is, any activity in the nature of disposal, exchange, barter, transfer, sale, rental, license, lease. If there is any, but these are all not the specific, it is a such as, okay, not the similar type of transaction. If anything happens, and that happens for consideration and in the course or furtherance of business, then only it is a supply. Okay, any activity in the nature of disposal, exchange, barter, transfer, sale, rental, license, lease, debt, SRRRLL, for consideration in the course or furtherance of business. Then 7.1a talks about any activity or transaction between a person other than individual and its members for a consideration. That means any activity or a transaction between a person, and that person is other than individual. We will see each definition: person, business, consideration, everything we will see. So just for time being, we are going to see any activity or transaction between a person other than individual and its members for a consideration is also treated as supply under sub 7.1. Okay, so any activity or transaction between a person and member, and this person is other than individual and its members for a consideration, you have to remember it is a supply. Okay, then import of services, 7.1b talks about import of services that is for consideration whether or not in the course or furtherance of business. So if it is a personal or if it is an official, if there is any import of services and that is for consideration, it is a supply. So import of service for consideration in the course or furtherance or not, whether or not in the course or furtherance of business. Okay. Then activities included in schedule 1, even though not for a consideration, will be treated as supply. We are going to see this. Drill. What one is DRIP. D stands for disposal of business assets on which ITC has been availed. Related party transactions. We are going to see this now. Okay. So related party transactions. Okay. Which includes transactions between distant person. Okay, which includes transaction between distant person. Then DRIP. DRI. I is again it talks about import of service. Here it is without consideration, import of service by a person from a related person, or establishment outside India. Okay, outside India. And then P. So DRIP, disposal of business assets on which ITC has been availed. R, related party transaction which includes transactions between destined person. I, import of services by a person from a related or establishment outside India. And P is principal agent transaction. Principal agent transactions, when agent is acting on behalf of principal. Okay, so these are the transactions which are there in schedule 1. So in schedule 1, if you see, there are transactions, even though those transactions do not involve consideration, will be treated as supply as per 7(1)(c). C, no consideration. C for no consideration. Okay, where there is no consideration, it is 7(1)(c). So 7(1)(c) में schedule 1 talks about 4 activities which will be treated as supply even if there is no consideration involved. What are that 4 activities? D, R, I, P, DRIP. What is D? Disposal of business asset on which ITC has been availed. So 2 things you have to remember. It's a disposal, that is permanent disposal. It is a permanent disposal, and also it is a disposal of a business asset and on which ITC has been availed. R is a related party transaction. Related party transaction which includes a transaction between distant person. We will see in depth what is related party transaction means and who is related party and distant person in upcoming slides. Then we are going to see import of services. Even if this import of services without consideration, it should be by a person from a related person or establishment outside India. We will see this also in a flowchart manner. We will cover both the scenarios: import of services in the course or furtherance of business, for consideration, without consideration, how. Don't worry. And then P stands for principal agent transaction. Principal agent transaction, where agent is acting on behalf of principal. So till now we saw is 7.1, which includes 7.1a, any activity in the nature of DEBT SRLL. See, this is just such as cases. This is not only, it is inclusion. So you don't only think that if this has this scenario, in any scenario, if this is falling, it is applied. No, it is an inclusion. Anytime anything can be included. For time being, it's an example that any activity in the nature of disposal, exchange, barter, transfer, sale, rental, license, lease, for consideration in the in the course or furtherance of business. See, first one, for consideration. Second one, for a consideration. Third one, for a consideration. So consideration is important, but as per schedule 1, there are 4 activities. Even though if it is not for a consideration, it is treated as supply. That's why it is falling under inclusions. So first thing is, now these are all general meaning. This is general meaning. Okay, this is general meaning. Then here if you see 7.1AA is a new section, new clause included here, is any activity or transaction between a person other than individual and its member for a consideration. So this we will see, any activity or transaction between a person and an individual and a member, that is association member. We say some club or some association where there is a person and there is a member. For a consideration, if there is any activity happening there, it is treated as supply, but it should be other than individual. Okay, because other than individual only it can be considered for consideration, and it will be an activity or transaction incurred for consideration. Then import of service, this is talking about for consideration, whether or not in the course or furtherance of business. Then schedule 1 talks about 4 activities which are to be treated as supply, even if it is not having any consideration involved. Disposal of a business asset. Permanently I am disposing of any business asset on which I have already availed an ITC, for which I can will be treated as supply. So business asset mein whatever ITC has been availed, only those cases is treated as supply. Then related party transaction includes transaction between destined person. Then I, DRIP, R, related party transaction. I, import of service by a person from a related person or establishment outside India. And P is principal agent transaction, when agent is carrying on. Any doubt till this? Okay, shall I move? Okay, so there is a 7.1, actually it's not like 7.1a. okay, this as a classification, it is just a clarificatory in nature, which as a schedule 2. Okay, so this will have this will say that it's a classification. It says like classification, okay, of supply. Okay, it's a classification of supply as goods and services. So this we will see little later, but now time being you should remember it is it just tells like if this supply happens, this should be treated as supply of goods. If this happens, it should be treated as supply of services. We will see this in a summary way, but now for time being you should know that it talks about a transaction if happens, and if there is any confusion, it gives a clarification that it should be treated as goods, it should be treated as supply. That's it. 7.2. Okay, these again, this will also talk about some exclusions. One second, give me 1 minute. Yes. So 7.2 again you should know in this way. Schedule 3, there is a 3 schedules. First schedule we saw an activities, if it is happening even without consideration, it will be treated as supply, which is in 7.1a. And then we saw 7.1 capital A, which talks about schedule 2, which is a classification of supply of goods or services as the transaction is. And schedule 3 is a exclusions. What do you mean by exclusion? We can say as a negative list. Okay, we can say as negative list. Okay, can we see this negative list now in a summary level so that you will have a grip? So if you want to remember, you have to remember in one short cut. S P A L L E D slow. SPA LLED slow. SPA LLED slow. SPA LLED slow. What is S? So if any sovereign functions of government, if any activity done by sovereign functions of government, spelling I think it's wrong, SOVER, sorry, SOVER, SOVER E G, sorry, EIGN, sovereign functions of government. We will see in detail later. Then P. What is P? Post. Government, constitutional and nominated. A. Actionable claims. Other than actionable claims other than HC blog. We will see this also in some time. Then L. Legal fees collected by court or tribunal. Legal fees collected by court or tribunal. L. Again there is an L. Okay, so this is land sale. Okay, which includes sale of immovable property. Okay, sale of immovable property where entire consideration is received after obtaining completion certificate or first occupation. Whichever is earlier. Okay, so we'll discuss this all as and when it comes. Then E, S P A L L E D, slow. E D, then first E, employee to employer. Employee to employer in the course of employment. Okay, in the course of employment. D, correct? D is death related. To remember, I have taken as death related, but it will be in books like funeral, burial, mortuary, etc. Okay, mortuary, etc. And then ED हो गया, उसके बाद slow. तो S is sale in ICs. Sale in IC. For time being, you remember IC. Then L is liquor license by state government. O is outside the country movement of goods without entering into India. Outside the country movement of goods. And last is W. What is W? Warehouse goods under customs sold. Warehouse goods under customs. Okay. Okay. So here you need to remember, first is a HCC block will finish. So here HC block is nothing but horse racing. H is horse racing, C is casinos, B is betting, L is lottery, O is online money gaming, and G is gambling. So other than that, if anything actionable claims are there, that is excluded from supply and it is not treated as supply. So I'll just give here itself a link so that you will be remembering. H C B L O G, horsing. What is C? This is not horsing actually, it is horse racing. Casinos. B, betting. L, lottery. O, online money gaming. Online game. and G, gambling. Okay, any doubt? Horse racing, casino, betting, lottery, online gaming, and gambling, sorry, gambling. Okay, then anything which I wanted to discuss in short, I wrote somewhere like that. No. Okay. So there are some exclusions also. We will discuss this in detail in some time later. Okay, that's it, I think. And then we covered 712, now 72, sorry, 72, and now we will go for 73. 7 supply, section 7 3, subsection 3. Okay, यहाँ पर क्या है ना, there are some central government on the recommendation of GST Council is empowered to notify supply of goods as supply of services and vice versa. Okay, so central government on the recommendation of GST Council is empowered to do this. Okay, is empowered to notify supply of goods as supply of services and vice versa also. So they are empowered to do so, but as on today I don't think they have done such anything. There is no such notification. Okay, 2 minutes, you can take your break, and if any doubt please comment as and when you have any doubts. Any doubt till this means you can let me know, or else I'll just proceed with one thing. See, this land sale includes immovable property where entire consideration is received after obtaining the completion certificate or first occupation, whichever is earlier. That means any land sale or immovable property sale, both are excluded from the GST. Okay, GST is not applicable. So this schedule 3 negative list clearly says that if there is any sale of immovable property where entire consideration is received after obtaining the completion certificate, that is once the building is ready and CC was handed over to the customer, for buying the house, and our first occupation, so whichever is earlier, that means I'll just want to elaborate more in this. So if you see GST, okay, on sale of flats or building, okay, GST on sale of flat or building. So if you see, we will take three scenarios. I think it will be better to take it in scenario based to have a better clarity. So we will do like this. Okay, serial number before obtaining CC, that is completion certificate, or FO, that is first occupation, whichever is earlier. Okay, then second scenario is after obtaining CC or FO, whichever is earlier. GST implications, nature of transaction. Okay, so simply we are talking about a scenario based. Okay, now try to understand this scenario. Okay, so we are going to first see each is a, okay, till this any doubt? No. Okay, so my A situation is, if suppose I receive a consideration before before obtaining CC or FO, whichever is earlier. See, I am only talking about flats or building, not land. I am talking about GST on sale of flats or building, not land. First thing you have to understand. Second, I am talking about before obtaining CC or FO, whichever is earlier, I have received the consideration. Being a constructor, before obtaining my completion certificate or FO, that is first occupation, whichever is earlier, I have received the consideration. GST implication is what? See, this is before obtaining CC or first occupation, I have received some money. That means the building is under construction or something, but it's a correct. So it is a GST implication क्या है तो here if you see, sorry, here if you see, it is a payable. GST is payable because it is not, yeah, it is not excluded from supply, and it is like a works contract. It's a works contract type, works contract service, we can say works contract service. Consideration is received before obtaining CC. Okay, what if second scenario I say consideration is received after obtaining CC or first occupation, whichever is earlier? This is excluded from supply, no, because after CC or this means, it means I have got some immovable property only, so not payable. GST is not payable. It is excluded from supply. This is excluded from supply. This is included This is included in supply, and this will be called as sale of immovable property. Please try to understand the difference, because I don't want anybody to be confused in this and this situation. One second, guys. Okay. Works contact service. Okay. Any doubt? Can we take one more scenario? This scenario will give more clarity, hoping, but let's see. Okay. And that scenario is C, and that talks about part. Correct, you are correct. Part consideration before CC and remaining consideration after. Okay, so remaining consideration received after. So part I received before, part I receive after. GST, how it will be? Payable on entire consideration. Please remember, it is payable on entire consideration. Okay, and treated as works contract service. Okay, it will be payable on entire consideration and also works contract service it is. Okay. Okay, so any doubt in this? This is one of the practical scenario. Okay, okay, I think everybody is clear with sale of flats or buildings. What is the GST implication? Okay. uh, 2 minutes you can take break.